Hello, everybody. This is Samantha Hirsch coming to you live from my home office this week. Instead of seeing Brittany's beautiful face, you're going to be seeing mine. And we're focusing on nonprofits. And one of the amazing nonprofits we do have in Sarasota County is ITN. I am always amazed at how many people are unaware of what ITN is or what it stands for. So we are very lucky to have Nancy Bobbitt with us today. She is the filling in administrator currently and has been on the board for quite some time and definitely knows the history of ITN and is just going to share with us what ITN is, how you can access their services, what they've been doing during COVID, etc. So with no further ado, Miss Nancy, tell us all about ITN.
Well, thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me today. As you mentioned, I am the interim executive director of ITN. I have been on their board for about 2.5 years and stepped into this position about a month ago. ITN is a nonprofit that provides transportation to individuals who are 60 years of age and older, or any adult that has visual impairment. We rely on some volunteer drivers and paid drivers. It is a membership service, so our riders sign up as a member, and then they can book a ride anywhere within Sarasota and Manatee County, any time of the day or night for any reason. And we've been around providing rides since 2010.
And who are your drivers? Who do you get to drive the seniors?
We would like to rely on all volunteer drivers. Our ratio is sometimes 30 to 70%, 30% volunteer drivers, 70% paid drivers. They all go through an interview process, a background screening. We check their driving record and then do a training, in-house training on providing transportation specifically to seniors and the visually impaired. But we always are looking for more volunteer drivers. We say, if you can volunteer just 1 hour a week, it makes the world of difference to a senior in Sarasota and Manatee counties.
And what are generally the types of places you're bringing seniors to? Is there like a set thing, or do you do pretty much anything they need you to do?
We can go anywhere. I'd say primarily we do a lot of doctor's appointments, grocery store, but we can go to the hairdressers, you can go out to dinner, you can go to the theater, you can go to a friend's house. So the rides are not specific for any location. They're unlimited on where you can go as long as they're in Sarasota and Manatee County.
And how does the pricing work? Is it by mile or by route or by, sliding scale?
It is based by mile. There's a membership fee of $50 that you sign up for. And then for each ride, there's a $4 pickup fee, and then it's $2.15 a mile. We do have a limited income program if you qualify for public assistance, but we rely on grant money for that. And currently we're not accepting new riders to that program right now.
Okay. And if you volunteer and drive, does that mean in turn when you need a ride that somebody will be there to drive for you?
Yep, the unique system was designed, and our local chapter here is an affiliate of ITN America. So the system was designed so that with that future need in mind, that if you volunteer now, you can bank the miles that you've driven so that you can then use those in the future when you need them. So as a volunteer, you can either save them for yourself in the future, or you can donate them to a senior in need right now. You could donate them to a friend, a family member, a neighbor, so that they could ride, or you could hold on to them for yourself down the road.
And how is ITN different than, say, an Uber or a Lyft type of company?
We're different in many ways. Our mission is to serve the senior population and to serve the visually challenged. So for seniors that don't have a smartphone or want to schedule their ride in advance, which a lot of our seniors want to do, they know when their doctor's appointment is, they know when their hair appointment is, so they can call ahead a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance. They can email that request in. And then we call the driver the day before their ride. We confirm their ride and let them know who their driver is that's going to be picking them up. So it's more personal. And then our motto is also arm through arm, door through door. So you're not going to get that with a regular Uber or Lyft driver. Our drivers are going to escort the senior out of the car, unfold their walker, open the door into the doctor's office, and assist them that way.
That's huge, definitely, especially with fall risks and everything else. It's nice to know you would have somebody to lean on if you needed to.
And then the seniors, they get very comfortable and they like to know who their driver is. So we'll call them the day before and let them know that John is your driver, he's picking you up. So that gives them a better sense of comfort and reliability there.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. It's no different than a caregiver. You don't want a stranger showing up at your door. You like someone who you've made a relationship with. And I know being on the board of ITN is an unpaid job, and just having a passion for serving seniors. Can you talk about what made you get on the board, and what is your regular business that would have an interest of seniors so you would be aware of ITN even?
Yep, I joined the board. My background is in physical therapy, and then I started my own company as a geriatric care manager. So my company is Senior Healthcare Management. So I would always refer my clients to ITN. So when I heard that there was a board opening, that was my chance to volunteer and give my time to a nonprofit that I was near and dear to my heart, that I thought did a wonderful job for my clients and for other seniors in the area.
And are people picked up in a van or other people's cars? I'm looking for a little clarification on who's showing up at your door, I guess.
It's our drivers, both volunteer and paid. It's their own personal vehicles.
Okay.
And we do track that so that we have some drivers that may have a higher SUV. So we're able to, because it's such a personalized service where the senior gets to call in, speak with our dispatcher gets to know our riders. So let's say, for example, they know Mrs. Jones cannot get into this particular driver's car because it's an SUV. So we match the rider, not only with the driver, but with the car as well.
That's really good.
We do have some arrangements with churches and assisted living facilities where we can do a corporate package, and we call it a ride service agreement, where one of our drivers for one of those agreements, the driver goes and drives the church van and picks up their church members, but it's coordinated through ITN.
Okay.
So we do try to reach out. Oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead. Finish.
We do try to reach out to the different assisted living and adult communities to see if our service can help their transportation needs for their clients.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you ever bring people to like Senior Friendship Center or places like that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And we have them, some of the things that our riders will do is it will go into our system as an automatic ride. So it's in our system for every week. Mrs. Jones is going to the Friendship Center at 9 o'clock on Tuesday mornings.
And I think your new office is housed at the Friendship Center, isn't it? Is that where you're physically located?
Yes, we moved into the Friendship Center the beginning of March. And it's very, very nice to be here. It's just a perfect fit for us to be located within their facility. It's a good match for ITN and the Friendship Center.
Yeah, most definitely. And if there was I know that you guys are kind of in the same boat as us at SCAN. We do events to raise money to give grants to organizations such as ITN. I know you had a luncheon schedule that is not going to be taking place. So have you thought about, just like all of us on the board at SCAN are kind of scratching our head like, okay, what are we going to do? We need to still generate funds, but we can't physically get together. Do you have any plans for any type of fundraising events in the foreseeable future?
I do, but if I tell you, you'll steal it.
I'll steal it.
ITN in the past put on a great event called a non-event event, and we'll be doing that again in the fall. And I think they were ahead of the curve in that respect, because they've done it at least 3 years that I know of. So you get the invitation to attend a non-event. All of the money that you would have spent on your ticket, that you would have spent getting your hair done, getting your dress, that's your donation to ITN. So we'll be doing that in the fall. So you can't steal that.
Okay, you heard it here first, but SCAN won't be doing that, folks. And one of the organizations that SCAN does fund pretty much every year is ITN, because it's such a valuable service. And how many ITNs are there? Like, I know in my other market where I publish in Lee and Collier, ITN doesn't exist. So we are lucky to have it here. How many ITNs are there in total?
We are the only one in the state. There was one in Orlando, but they just closed recently, I think in the beginning of February. I think right now there are 10 affiliates throughout the country. It was started in Portland, Maine. And so there are our main headquarters of ITN America. And then right now, I think there's just 10 affiliates throughout the country. It's a tough model. We do depend on volunteers, and we do depend on donations. So it takes a committed staff and a committed board, as well as a committed community to help keep an ITN going. And so we do thank SCAN and appreciate their grant money every year.
No, we're happy to give. I mean, that's what SCAN was created for. So we're happy to support a phenomenal program like ITN. Anything else going on in the world of ITN that I can share with anybody today?
Well, to kind of clear up any rumors, we are still providing rides. We never stopped providing rides throughout the pandemic. When it first started, we limited our rides to just essential doctor's appointments, medical labs, and grocery stores. And then we followed the governor's guidelines. So as he started to reopen, then we started to provide rides to whatever was open. So our rides have continued the whole time.
And are you doing any special safety precautions now? Like, are the drivers wearing a mask? Do you have hand sanitizer in the back seat of the car? Because my husband and I were just talking the other day about, my daughter asked if she could take a lift, and we both looked at each other and said, are they, like, we don't know whose car she's getting in. Are they cleaning it in between each person? I mean, it's things that you have to think about now for the first time, never thought about before.
We have gloves, masks, and hand sanitizer for all of our drivers. And we request that all of the riders wear masks, all the drivers wear masks, and that the drivers hand sanitize the riders before they get into the car.
And say a driver brings a ITN customer to a doctor's appointment. Do they sit outside and wait for them, or do they leave and come back and get them? How does that work exactly?
It all depends on how the rider schedules it. You know, they may know their schedule, the particular doctors. They may have a friend picking them up on the other end. So it all depends. Sometimes the driver waits just because they're in the area and they'll stay there. Sometimes they have time to go do another ride in between, and then the rider will give us an approximate time of when they'll be ready. So we ask for some flexibility on that end, that, you know, we're going to be flexible when we know that the physician or doctor's office runs late, and we'll be able to accommodate the ride.
Okay, sounds good. I want you to share your phone number, web address, etc. We will have all of this information with the videos that show typed out. But for those listening now, if you're interested in volunteering, or if you need rides, or most likely if you're interested in probably being on the board, there's room for you at ITN.
Yes, we could take that, all of the above. We could take volunteers, we could take board members, and we can also take riders. Our website is ITNSunCoast.org, and the phone number is 364-7530. So please reach out to us and we can accommodate you anyway, especially if you want to volunteer. an hour a week makes a huge difference for us.
And a huge impact in people's lives, and giving is the best getting. So I can't recommend more, especially people are complaining they're locked up at home right now and going stir crazy. This is a basically safe thing you can do to be giving back and actually having some human interaction. Imagine that, people.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you immensely, Nancy Bobbitt, for joining us on SBB Live this week, Nonprofit Week. Again, the information for ITN will appear underneath the video. The video will be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. So thank you for joining us today. And
thank you.
Stay safe out there and continue doing your great work.
Will do. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you, Nancy. Bye-bye.